Hey everyone, thanks for watching. So today we're going to show you how to draw a hand with the peace sign. It's kind of something like this, 2 fingers up, somewhat of a universal symbol for the peace sign. So follow along, I'll take you through this step by step and we'll work on layout, shading, positioning as best as possible, and follow along, and you can even draw as I draw. So the first thing you want to do is just kind of think about the positioning of where the hand will be. So it's always good to start lightly and shade in darker as you need to. So nothing wrong with starting with the wrist, and the shape of the hand kind of goes around like that, and you typically have the thumb area over here. The thumb, of course, will go over here. You'll have 1, 2, and then over here, the 2 small fingers will actually fold down in this manner. So you'll kind of have that structure. So you'll see this come together shortly, so just follow along. So what I would say is this. Look at what you've started with. Some of you might look at this and look like a rabbit or a bunny, but you'll see this come together shortly. Avoid too much roundness over here. The hand doesn't really bulge out that much. So if you've done that, what you want to do is probably just do a bit of erasing over here, and just try to bring that up a little more like that, okay? You'll see that come together as well, okay? You also want to make sure that on this side of the hand, where that thumb is, it does jot out a bit, so you will have this kind of structure over here, okay? Start light, you'll shade it in darker as you pull the drawing together, okay? You also want to make sure that the finger shapes are more realistic. These are just rough outlines, so in this case, what you want to do is just look at something like that. Okay. Just fix that a little bit over there. Okay. And of course, the middle finger, the index and the middle finger are connected just slightly with a bit of a V shape or a U shape over here. So in doing so, we'll draw the middle finger a little more rigidly. The middle finger is typically longer than the index, so what you want to do is just come a little bit above the index. Okay. You can see my original positioning of the fingers were a little off anyway, so don't worry too much about the first positioning of how you put all that together. The other thing that I also like to do is also sometimes like to have the middle finger a bit more on an angle, so there's nothing wrong with that as well. Make sure you have enough curvature in the tip of the finger as well. As you can probably see, I actually had a bit of a too much of a square finish of the tip of the finger, so make sure that you do have enough curvature there as well. Okay. So those would probably be more of the 2 fingers that would be over there. I'd also probably say this should come down just a little bit more, just to give more of an illusion of a full-length finger. Okay. So that's good. As we continue to pull this together, what we want to do is roughly look at where that thumb would go. So the thumb would typically come across and over, probably about to this point over here. The thumb is obviously thicker. So you'll kind of see that come together as well. There are some hard lines over here that separates the thumb from the fingers, and you'll see afterward we will put some shading in, but for now let's just draw the outline of the thumb. Okay. Of course, you're obviously going to see, when you go like that, you're going to see the thumbnail. Okay. So the thumbnail is there. Couple line joints over there for the joint of the thumb. Okay. Then of course what we want to do is just clean up the ring and the pinky finger. So they typically will fall, your pinky might fall over here. And definitely the, let's fix this up a bit. Definitely the ring finger goes below the thumb. That's a must. So that ring finger goes well below here as well. So yeah, you kind of have this position. It kind of from above, it kind of looks like it's floating. So there's nothing wrong if it does look like it's floating. The pinky needs to come closer to the ring finger, so we're actually going to do that as well. And we'll do that by just simply drawing that pinky right there. You're going to see the nail. Okay. And yeah, typically you'll see a couple. Okay. So now what we typically have is you have the pinky, you have the ring, the index and the index and the middle finger are there as well. I think what we probably want to do is just widen out the middle finger just a touch. Just make it look a little more representative of the proportions of this hand here as well. Okay. Typically with the two fingers, you're going to have joints. You're probably going to have the joint over here, as well as over here. And you're going to have something over here. You'll see that come together shortly as well. Okay. When you're holding that hand position, you have this kind of, this area of obviously the thumb, but intense shadowing over here. So you typically want to draw that, right on the hand. And, draw in some of those lines and draw in some of those shadows that appear there. Okay, we'll do a lot of shading and shadows shortly, but follow along as I get there. The main lines in the hand are certainly important to draw in as well. So follow along. So I think you can kind of see the structure of this hand has really come together. It might need a little bit of adjusting here and there, and we will do that when we finish this off. But what I'll say now is follow along. I'm going to speed this part up. You're going to see some adjustments and shadows and shading come together. So follow along, just watch, and I'll come back to you shortly. Okay. Okay, so we're back. We've done some shading, adjustments, things like that. What I thought I would do is just show you the last final adjustments and shading with instructions. So at this point, what I'll do is just look at what I have. You can see some shading with some of the fingers, some of the joints, the thumb position, even some of the veining, and even along the side over here, there's some really nice, you you can do some nice curvature shading over here as well. So I always like to just use my finger to kind of shade that up nicely, and use the eraser to just kind of create that contrast on the side as well. Okay, so you can definitely do that. You know, what I would say is a couple things that are missing maybe from this is a little bit of curvature and we'll call it bumps in the fingers. So let's give a little bit of curvature to some of these fingers that we see. You typically don't want to have such a straight line there, so you know that alone gives that the illusion of just a bit of a more complete finger, if you will. You can even do that on the pinky, and you can do that on the ring finger as well. Okay, so you know I keep referencing my own viewpoint. This would probably look different from different perspectives and viewpoints as well. So every hand is a little different. If you look at it from this way or this way or this way, you'll have a different view of this. But I would say this is certainly a great view of my own perspective as I draw this, looking at my own hand going like this. So I hope you agree. Anyway, so that's pretty much it. Just to summarize some of the main tips is start with the outline. I always like to start with the wrist, the palm, and the fingers, the two up, the two down, and the thumb. From there, just try to use your eraser to just bring things together. The portion where I sped up the video, you want to maybe do some of the shading and kind of shade in some of the portions in there as well. After that, just look at what you have done, see how you can make any improvements and things like that. And that's simple as that. So that's kind of the trick to drawing the peace sign, the hand in a peace sign position. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to jump back into making some adjustments here. So you can follow along. You can see we're going to speed this part up again and make some nice final adjustments. Give it some nice shading and some nice touch-ups. So stay tuned. We'll finish this up real quick. Thank you for watching.